Good morning. Thanks for being here. Really excited with the win. Again, I mentioned this in post game, but unbelievable crowd. The I shot a video. My wife actually sent it to me, and I thought it was, just a great picture of the stadium, and it was full, and we greatly appreciate that. And looking forward to another one this Saturday. I believe it's Parents Weekend. But on the game, just to recap, a couple things I want to point out. Areas of improvement. I really liked the edge that we played with, particularly on defense. The quarterback, everything goes through the quarterback on anybody's offense, and it was a thing for us. We had to adjust a little bit on some of the penalties, how they're calling the game, but we certainly, I thought, maybe not number of sacks, but caused some erratic throws, some missed targets that were huge, particularly in the second half. The stats. I think tackling wise, I was asked that after the game, and looking at the numbers, we can tackle better. I think the stat that we keep. It was a little over 40 yards at Syracuse as far as on missed tackles, and it was pushing 100 the other night. You miss one tackle and it's a 40-yard run. They can rack up pretty quick, but we can tackle better. I want to give credit to South Alabama. They've got really good skill. I referenced that as well. Offensively, got to take care of the ball. And we had two balls on the ground, lost one of them. We have been a program, particularly the last 2 years, that the turnover margin has been in our favor. And I think we can always improve in that area. But they're very happy with the ball getting spread around. The sense of urgency that I talked about going into the game was there. Playing at home, it usually is. But there are some, again, positives to build off of. Special teams, Gianni, solid. Jack, he hit two good ones. The last one we needed a bigger kick. They got the ball at midfield. You'd like for him to push that thing past the 50. But I tell you what, I'm really, really excited about our coverage units. I don't know if in my 20 years here, we've had 3 tackles on kickoff return inside the 20 ever. So, and we have, I bet you 5 true freshmen running down, covering, and they are about it now. It is really fun to watch. I'm really, really happy with the progress of those units, and so there's good things to build on. We're playing a lot of young and new faces on special teams due to the roster, and probably the biggest concern, not probably, but the biggest concern right now is going to be injuries. If we were playing on the road today, right this week, we would leave 14 guys home because of injuries on the travel squad. That is an alarming number. So Jerry and John Bowman and their team, they've got a busy week ahead of them. I think we have, 8 guys on crutches right now. So, it is what it is. Next man up mentality. That's what we're going to do. We went through it last week, and we're going to be going through it this week. So, with that, I'll open up for questions.
Eric Decker, the Athens Messenger. Coach, obviously, since we've been talking to you, it's always been a 1 week at a time approach, and I'm sure you'll say the same for this week. But when looking at the locker room, especially with what's coming up next week and going to play at an SEC field, is there any worries about maybe kind of looking past this week in the locker room, and how do you kind of just try to avoid that?
No, again, one game at a time outfit. Our leadership on this football team won't allow that to happen, and yeah.
And then kind of speaking on to the injuries with this week, and especially the opponent going up, does having a game against Morgan State kind of impact the decision making on some of the injuries, whether someone would play, whether giving someone an extra week, especially with the test next week?
Yeah, it's a fair question, but that's just not how we operate here. I mean, it's all hands on deck for this opponent, and we don't want to put anybody at risk. But we to get where you want to be peaking come conference time. That's what we want. They've got to get game experience, because you don't do a lot of live work. You don't do any live work once the season starts. You don't. You do it in August, and so it's an opportunity for us to if there's an opportunity to play somebody and they're ready to go, they need the reps. So.
Bobby Keegan with the Post. Last week you talked to us about the jump that a team can make between week 1 and week 2. Do you think that your team made that jump, and what improvements do you think you guys still need to make?
I think someone may have mentioned that after the game, and I was, I'm still, emotions are still high from the game, and we won, and I think I said I think I was, after I looked at the data, the missed tackles and the balls on the ground, the penalties, we can play better. Sometimes you win games, and you don't play at your best. I'm going to say that was the case with us. South Alabama had a little bit to do with that. Some of the injuries had a little bit to do with that. A little bit. We were playing with a little bit of too much of an edge at times. Had a little bit to do with that. So we can clean some things up, and I think make another jump. And that's what we're going to push him to do.
Andrew Bowlby with WAUB. Obviously, last week, 200 passing yards, 200 rushing yards. How have you liked the balance of your offense to be able to get production through the air and on the ground? Yeah,
you get it. I mean, that's balanced. In a perfect world, that's what it is. I think every game is going to be different. The score's going to dictate, but a balanced offense is going to put the most pressure on the defense of what's coming next. And through 2 games, I like it. Nitpicking probably too many tackles for losses. I'm not sure what once sack. I'm not sure how many sacks we had last week, but I know we had 4 in the first one. But just the tackles for losses, so you're not 2nd and 12. And then we put ourselves behind the chains on procedure penalties on offense. I know. So there's some things that to build off of on the balance part for sure, but we're not a finished product.
Grant Key for WAUB. The last few years, some FCS opponents come in here and they put up a really good fight. And, kind of like what Eric alluded to, how do you just make sure that doesn't happen again this week?
Again, I referenced it earlier, the leadership. And, there's not, an inch difference between our level and Morgan State. I've been here long enough, and we have had some unbelievable games here in my time, particularly here in the last, 5 or 6 or 7, and we've had some great comebacks to win some of those, right? So I anticipate a great matchup, and I think if you're a program that is about the Nick Saban, about the process, and this is what we do on Monday, this is what we do on Tuesday, this is what we do on Wednesday, all right? And the guys are working like they do every week. I think that alleviates some of the things that you're talking about in their head.
I kind of asked about it a little bit on Saturday, but going on more with the passing game, a balanced attack, but still just a touch over 200 yards, passing 180 against Syracuse. Is the passing game something that you guys are going to have to try to make a concerted effort to try to get going in a certain way, or is it really just see how the flow of the game and what matchups work?
Yeah, no, you're going to have game plan wise, you're going to have things that you're going to want to get done. You're going to watch film and get your passing concepts and your play action concepts based on what you see, and then the wind was a little bit of a factor last week. Going into it, you want to have certain things that you want to go into. Just in general, I think as an offense, we can take a few more shots at times. But when you do that, you got to be ready for second and long. If it's on 1st and 10, you got to be good on second and long. So again, I think it's the flow is part of it too. So
Also talking about the passing game, wasn't necessarily as apparent in week 1 against Syracuse, but last week 7 different guys caught passes. How did you like Parker's ability to spread the ball around to a couple different guys?
outstanding. I loved. Someone pointed out, how he started. I think around 50% and finished, very high, very efficient. And I think again the last drive of the first half was ran to perfection, and the first opening drive of the third quarter was a great mixing it up. We had a little bit of tempo in there, some good some show pass, some play action stuff, and then the red zone quarterback draw thing was great call, and we caught a great look on it, and it opened up like the Red Sea. So
If you look at your defense, last week you guys were down 2 captains on defense. Just in terms of on-field leadership, is there anybody who's stepped up into those roles, and is there anybody who you're looking at to kind of get that on-field leadership that you lost with Adonis and Jeremiah?
I really like the play of Austin Brawley. I mentioned it after the game. He's had 2 spectacular games. I didn't realize this after the game. Someone said our leading tacklers were 3 safeties maybe. But Austin has continues to play well. DJ Walker, redshirt freshman, has played 70 snaps 2 games in a row. I think those 2 guys are rock solid. I'm really excited. Austin has become more vocal this year. Still kind of a young guy last year, but has really taken on that quarterback role back there. Especially in which Adonis is out and he's a veteran, but didn't play a snap. And we'll see on this week where he's at. He's not one of the 14. He would travel, but we were still not sure on where he is health wise. I think he's going to be fine, but I said that last week and he wasn't. So he's nursing the turf toe still, but I am hopeful. But back to the guys that can step up. Austin and DJ, I'm happy. Mike Mack, Roman, and Tank, solid. Mike's been a huge contributor on special teams. His role will increase. Jalen Thomason he got a few snaps last week. He's been out with a soft tissue for about a month, but he's going to get more reps this week. So a lot of names there that I anticipate roles increasing and their leadership roles increasing.
Looking around college football, it was a big weekend for the MAC, especially NIU and Bowling Green, kind of highlighting that. As a representative of the conference, what's your reaction to that? Just kind of the competition level. What's your reaction?
I think it's great. Commissioner Sunrecker, he texted me on our win. And I failed to mention this after our post game, but it's great for our conference to go against the Sun Belt team and get the victory. I know I talked about it to our team, South Alabama, really good program. They had a big win against Oklahoma State last year on the road. Played Eastern Michigan in the bowl game, got after them pretty good, and we were able to get the win on Thomas and Northern Illinois. Big win for our league. And I'm happy for him. Great ball coach. We played him in the last 2 years. One of the most tradition-rich programs in football in our league. And I think that, just talking with Thomas at the head coaches meeting, he's got 33 seniors on his team. I replied to our commissioner and said, how do you get 33 seniors on one roster, and then how's he keeping them? It's legit. I tip my hat to Thomas. It's not easy. And with me saying that, I think it speaks volumes to our staff and who we target, who we recruit with the movement. That's a pat on the back to our guys and how we go about the process. So, but for our conference and that win on that stage is they're flying the flag this week for sure.
And then kind of adding on to that, aside from just, I guess, the media attention of it, I mean, you guys have a Power 5 win last year. In terms of the guys in the locker room, seeing all that, I guess, with the success that maybe you guys have had against Northern Illinois the past couple of years, in terms of confidence of the guys in the locker room being able to go out and beat whoever they're lined up against.
I think it's exciting. I really do, and it's certainly in my 20 years here. I mean, it happens every year, and we have been a part of them, a lot of them here. Getting a chance to play a Power 4 school now, used to be Power 5, and we've got our share of wins in that category as well.
Excuse me. The running game, that was a big talking point. Who's going to split snaps or not. 3 guys, Parker included, had a good portion of rushing yards, but South Alabama seemed to do a good job, at least somewhat containing Ty. So what did you make of the run game specifically on Saturday?
A little bit more consistent. We had a holding penalty on a 30-yard run. That got negated, and I think we had to maybe get a field goal on that drive. I can't remember how the drive finished, but again, when you've got 200 yards rushing, that's going to cause pressure on the defense. It's going to just open up some things for you, because you're not one-dimensional. So some more consistency in the O-line on some things. We saw a lot of different. There were multiple on defense. They had some cute little twist things going on because of our zone game that we run, and so we'll have to continue to take a look at that and handle some things better. But I certainly like the mindset of the running backs. I certainly like Parker's ability to. He got 2 huge first down scrambling. The one in the second half was huge on 3rd down and 6 or 8, I think. So we want that to continue, and I think moving forward, it gives us our best chance when we have the numbers that you brought up.
Are you able to provide an update on Shay Taylor at all? I know he was questionable week 1, played no second half, and then play this week.
Yeah, soft tissue, and if we were traveling, he would travel. Now, but he'd be like Adonis. It's going to be a game time thing, Adonis is set to I think practice today. Shay, I'm not sure yet. I've not seen the report. But both those guys would travel. I know that, but it would be a game time decision. We're hopeful that he can go.
What about Blake Leak stepping up? He had a good game.
Yes,
just the whole linebacker core. How have they stepped up in your eyes?
Yeah, I mean, you got to tip your hat to Coach Faunus, because his room's been, we've got 3 guys out in that room that you could say starters on all 3. But I mean, Shay is a starter, all right. But Reese is going to play half the time, and Michael Walnar is now one of the guys on crutches. And so we're playing some other guys, and they're playing solid. So I think at some point in time we'll get those guys back. I don't know the time frame yet, but when you're going through some growing pains right now with playing some younger guys like Stellan, all right, Cage Smith's gone from our jack position to linebacker. I think that will help us when we get into league play, because when you get hopefully we get all the pieces back together, and the game experience they're getting now will prove beneficial down the stretch.
Coach, I got one for you. Not to dwell on FCS, but there have been a couple of really close FCS calls and upsets in the first 2 weeks. Talk about the growth of not only the talent on the field, but the talent on the sidelines from the coaches across the ranks of college football.
prior to this year and what we went through roster wise, I'd have a great handle on it, you know, because it's a level playing field, you know, and it's inches. It's a level playing field, and I'm gonna be honest, right? It's not now, as we all know, it's not. It's if you've got money, you can build a roster, plain and simple, and I'm all for it. So I've seen the scores, but there's also scores the other way, because there are schools that, you know, every roster, whether it's at Emporia State, Division II, it doesn't matter what level it is, you know, I'm going to say it. I mean, everybody everywhere is in a contract year. I mean, you think about that. Everybody everywhere they're in a contract year. So, you know, I mean, we're going to an NFL model, all right? And he's in the last year of his contract. I mean, everybody's in a contract year. So, what's the tape show? It's plain and simple. That's what it is. You know, back to the scores and, you know, the close ones and the not close ones. You know, I just don't have a feel, because it's you know, if you've got the resource, you can get a roster and get some things done, or you can keep your roster and get some things done. That's where the game's at. That's the environment that we're in. So I'm not complaining. I'm just telling you what it is.